Okay, these notes are your concept number 5, writing linear equations given a graph. Okay, so with these, you are given a picture of a graph, and you have to work backwards to write the equation of that line. You want to keep your final answer in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b, which we've been using for a while now, so that shouldn't be new. Okay, remember that your m is your slope, your b is your y-intercept. Okay, it is important to remember that your y-intercept is simply where does your graph cross this y-axis at. So at what point does it cross the y-axis is your y-intercept or your b value. So step number 1 is to find the slope and the y-intercept. Okay? So it's easiest to start with the y-intercept sometimes because it's just where it crosses the y-axis. So we can see here that your line crosses your y-axis at the y value of 3. Okay? So our b value is 3. Your slope, which is rise over run. Now, in order to calculate your slope, you need to find 2 nice points on your graph. And when we say nice points, we mean points that cross in a nice, easy spot that you can see what the point value is. So you don't want them to be halfway between the lines. You don't want to be them off the line at all. They have to cross perfectly through the lines. Okay? So you can pick any 2 nice points. Now, this one has a few other nice points that we didn't use. You could use -4, -3, looks like a nice point. We chose to use -2, 0, and then 3, or 0, 3. Okay. So those are the 2 nice points. Then you want to figure out from one point to the other, how much does it rise, how much does it run. Okay. So from one point to another, if I start at this point of -2, 0, okay, I am rising 3 values. So I'm going up 3, so it's a +3. And my run, which means how far to the left or how far to the right do you have to go to get to that next point, I am running to the right 2 units. So to the right is a positive value. So my slope is a +3 over a +2. So my slope is 3/2. Now you simply put those 2 numbers into your equation of y equals mx plus b. So it becomes y equals 3/2 x plus 3, because 3/2 was my m value, which was my slope, and my b value, my y-intercept, was 3. Okay. A few more examples. So we want to write the equation of the line shown in this graph. Same rule applies. So you need to find your slope and your y-intercept. So if we start looking at the slope here again, you want to pick 2 nice points on the graph. So I chose these 2 points right here, this one that is circled, and that point that is shown there. So we are at +2, -1 for this point, and we are at +1, +2 for that point. So you're just going to count rise over run. So from this point here, from my 1, 2, I am dropping 1, 2, 3 values. I am dropping 3 values, so it's a -3. And my run, which means how far to the left or how far to the right do you go, is a +1 because I'm moving 1 unit to the right. So my slope is a -3 over a +1, which is a -3. Then your y-intercept here. Okay, so you need to know where does this line cross the y-axis. And you can see at the end of this graph where the arrow is where it's starting to cross through the y-axis, which is at the y value of 5. Okay, so your final answer is then y equals -3x from our slope plus 5 because our y-intercept was at +5. Same setup here. We want to find the equation of this line that is shown. So you need to figure out your slope first, pick 2 nice points, and then calculate your rise over your run. So from this point right here, I am rising 2 units because I'm going up 2, so it's a +2. And my run is going right 3, so it's a +3. So my slope is a +2/3. My y-intercept, it crosses my y-axis at a +1. So my equation is y equals 2/3 x plus 1. Okay, these 2 examples are exactly the same setup. Again, you're finding your slope and your y-intercept, so you can follow through the work for these if you need to. Okay, I'm going to jump to these last 2 examples here. we want to write the equation of the line shown. Now, we've done these examples before. This was from the very end of quarter 1 that we went over these horizontal and vertical lines, and you had to do this. You had to write the equation of these lines for that pretest and for assessment number 5 in quarter 1. So this should not be anything new, but it's a perfectly vertical line. Okay? That vertical lines always have to cross through the x-axis somewhere. Right? If it's a vertical line, it's going to have to pass through this x-axis at some point. So your equation of the line is x equals wherever it crosses through. So in this case, this line crosses through at -3. So my equation is x equals -3. Now in the last example, I have a horizontal line. So a horizontal line at some point is going to have to cross through the y-axis. So this horizontal line crosses through my y-axis at +3. So the equation of this line is y equals 3 because it's crossing through the y-axis at 3. Okay, but again, this last example is the same type of problem that we did at the end of quarter 1. Okay, that's it for this set of notes. Again, it was concept number 5, which is writing linear equations given a graph.